When most people see a Blackwater aquarium, the first thing they ask is, why is the water brown? I used to think the same thing. Like most, I thought something was wrong with my tank and I panicked. Then I discovered what's going on inside. That colour was more than what I had ever expected, and it led me down a path of fish keeping that I never knew existed. When a leaf or a pod starts to break down, it releases what we call tannins, which are humic substances, and they release other compounds into the water. Those chemicals are known to naturally soften the water, slightly lower the pH, and create conditions that are closer to what you find in slow-moving forest streams, natural habitats to many of the fish that we keep in our home. Back when I started, I didn't understand that, and I just dropped a few catappa leaves in because I read that they were good for better fish, not because I actually knew why. It was more just the fish liked to hide under it or lay on top of them, to be honest. Turns out I was accidentally discovering something much bigger, a natural process that changes how everything in the aquarium behaves and the early steps of what thriving ecosystems are built on. It made me wonder how many other things in this hobby we overlook because we're focused on how something looks instead of how it works. To be honest, my early tanks were a bit chaotic. I was sort of just winging it, in that leaves gave something different to my aquariums and they contrasted well with the green plants and many of the other fish. It hadn't yet dawned on me that the tannins were affecting the water, softening it, which some fish, such as live bearers, don't require. Same with plants. I wasn't aware the impact on how limited light from tannins prevented plant growth with many stem plants, using random substrates such as gravels and aquascaping soil. Basically, it was just a mashup of everything I thought looked good, but nothing was really thriving. Most importantly, the one key thing I never knew I was missing out on was the profound changes within fish behaviour, which I will get onto later in the video. And additionally, I had no idea how well tannins prevented algae, which was a massive selling point, especially within new aquarium setups. One thing that I did quickly notice with botanicals is that they break down and rot, and I often removed them as they looked at the time wrong. What I didn't realize back then is that all that breakdown and the decay is actually what creates the stability. When tannins and organic matter break down, they feed bacteria and microorganisms. That creates this soft brown layer on the substrate called mulm. Most people think it's dirty and try to siphon it out, but that mulm is basically a living filter. It's packed with beneficial bacteria and it helps process waste, and it even provides food for shrimp and fry. If you leave it to do its thing, your tank becomes a more self-sustaining system. Back then, I used to spend hours cleaning it out. Now I have aquariums running for years with layers of mulm buildup, and they are the cleanest and most stable they have ever been. The fish are always the best indicator of whether you've got the balance right though. The quickest thing I picked up on is how they behave in different environments. In clear water, I'd see my fish darting one minute, hiding the next, sometimes responding negatively to the bright lights or reflections. In Blackwater, everything just changed. Better fish became calmer, tetras shoaled tighter, corridoras even foraged naturally and bred. The darker environment makes them feel secure. It reduces glare and line of sight so that they're not constantly on edge. Their colours pop more and their feeding behaviour becomes more natural. Essentially replicating the conditions that they had in the wild were being displayed at home. And I even observed natural egg-laying behaviours from my corridoras, which was like amazing to see. I actually recently tested the theory in a home study, which I observed the behaviour of cardinal tetras within clear water and slowly moving them into tannin-stained water, and what I noticed were more active, more curious, more colour and less hiding. It was no scientific lab setup, just me and a camera, but the difference really was clear to see. You don't really learn this stuff from articles or guides. Yeah, there are plenty around, but as everyone's aquariums and setups are different and they have varying environmental factors such as water hardness, temperature and location, I find the best way was to just learn by observing and studying myself. Over time, you do start to read the tank. The colour shift, the smell of the water, and even the way biofilm forms on the surface. Those things tell you more than a test kit ever could. I've learned that if something looks off, it's usually because I've changed something too quickly. I've added too many botanicals, cleaned too much, or tried to fix what I didn't need fixing. the best Blackwater tanks that I've ever had are the ones that I've barely ever touched.
So now that we've covered what's happening inside these tanks, the chemistry, the breakdown, the bacterial life, and the fish behavior, the next setup is building a system that supports it all. So in the next episode, I'm going to show you how to actually set up a Blackwater aquarium from scratch using what I've learned over the years. Everything from the substrate to botanicals, and how I layer everything to build stability right from day one. And remember, it's not about chasing the look, it's about building something that works naturally.